Leave it there.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes, yes, I am. Love, wisdom, power. Yes, yes, I am. Love, yes, power. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Love, wisdom, power. Yes, yes, I am. Wisdom, power. Master. Yes, I am. Yes, love, wisdom, power. Yes, I am. Say to yourself, yes, I am. Protected. Yes, I am. Master. I am. Yes.
So, can everybody see me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm,
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to get so I can see everybody here. This is the first time we're doing this, y'all, and we had technical difficulties for an hour now. It interrupted the Guru Gita, and so we're just trying to integrate everything right now. Hopefully, it's only going to take another minute or so. Well, I'm not even using the computer stream. I'm using the phone. So let's just hope it works out. So we're sending it to Kim. To I see one sister. I see another brother. Much peace and much love, everyone, from Birmingham. Nubia Beer.
It used to say it's on here. You can't see me?
I, if everyone can see and hear you, is there a way I can hear that, see them, JD? Yeah, see, I'm here. Hank, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're doing fine, bro. It's all live. You got 40
do-
people waiting for your message.
How do I get them on?
They're watching. They're watching you. You're good.
Right.
Go ahead with the message.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me open it up. And JD, can you please get them on if you can? Can you please get, all right. So I'm gonna start with an invocation. And I'm on chapter 20. Chapter 20. All right. Give me a minute. All right. The invocation.
Lalji,
Yes, my brother.
this is a suggestion, and I
Okay.
think everybody in the chat would agree. For your own personal prayer invocation, to have the ascended masters assist you.
Okay.
Like an opening prayer. You know, it gotta be long.
Well, that's what I'm doing now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
All right. Thou mighty invincible, I am presence. Speak thyself into the hearts of the children of men. Fill their hearts and minds to overflowing with the magnificence of thy presence, with the conscious strength to look to thee and know thee as the one, the mighty, eternal source of all things, my beloved, by which the consciousness of mankind is sustained. Make them to know the great ownership that it is, thee alone who art the owner and giver of all things, that they may thus manifest unselfishly one to the other. We thank thee. I bring you greetings from the great hosts who are ever pouring their radiant presence into our lives. I'm on page 136, and I wanted to say this to everyone that's listening. We have a 2-hour program, a 2-hour, 15-minute program before we start this 10:30 program. So at 8:15, we do prayers for 10 minutes, we do decrees for 20 minutes, we do chanting for an hour or 50 minutes, and we do meditation for 45 minutes, meditation and mantras for 45 minutes. Today, we had some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. For an hour, it's been going on. I don't know what it is. I switched from one carrier to another because the last carrier was bad. I'll just find out what it is, and hopefully we're moving along. I put together a program for those who's really, really trying to ascend, who's not just doing this class as a novelty, but so that they can really make real progress on the path. And I wanted to show it to everybody because these technical difficulties, I can't bring it up, but I can give you an idea. We got the daily prayers, as I said before, morning decrees, and I put in afternoon decrees because afternoon decrees are so difficult because of our busy schedules. But there are 5 decrees that you could say moving to and fro. They're short, and if you're seeing with dynamic tension, you're going to have a powerful effect. If you're around people, say them silently. Unfortunately, I can't pull it up now, but next week they'll hopefully we'll have, through the grace of God, everything will go well. And then there's also the afternoon decrees also. But if you don't have time, which I haven't been able to do, just do these 5 decrees. There's a decree for wealth. There's a decree for physical health. There's the most powerful decree. There's a decree for the brain, and a decree for America. Now, the decree for America is the decree because I put these decrees for America in there because Saint Germain said, and although many of us have problems with America, but we got to realize this too. Most of us, this is our land. If we trace our lineage, it's probably going to land right here in America. And it may not land in Africa. Because I'm thinking that so many other people have been thinking, oh yeah, all our genes go straight back to Africa. My mother was quarter Indian. My grandmother was half Indian. And my great-grandmother was full-blood Indian. And you know you can't trust your father's lineage, especially here in America. So we're doing decrees for America also. You said, I see you. Okay. If you can put people up on the screen, Hank, I truly appreciate it. So we're doing decrees for America because Saint Germain said, if you do decrees for America every day, America and the world every day, he guarantees you ascension. So your ascension is guaranteed for something that's going to take a whole page of 7 seconds to do a whole page. So this is not even a price to pay. It's just a boom. You sit in. There you said. There you go. Anyway, like yeah. And the Queens. Okay, cool, royalty. And so this is not a price. It's just a gift to us. If we can take out a minute and a half a day of our life to do the creeds for America, because they're taking up those creeds, empowering it to help all of humanity on the whole planet, America and the whole planet. So that's why those decrees are like the first decrees after the first three empowering decrees, the wall of blue flame, the violet flame, and the wall of blue light. And I want to show this to everyone, but it'll have to be next week. I put together a program that then you got your evening decrees, right? I also put in there, if you're really not playing and you're really talking about accomplishing ascension, think about repeating the mantra 10,000 times a day. If the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, could be Hari Om, could be Lord Jesus Christ have mercy on me, could be Allah, whatever your particular religion you prefer, a particular system of spirituality that you prefer. I was initiated with Om Namah Shivaya mantra. In fact, a number of different mantras from my guru, who was Swami Mukherjee. And say the mantra that you like. The best mantra to say is the one that's hitting your heart. You could say, I am, you know. But the most powerful mantra you can get is one directly from the Guru. I got the authority to send that to you. That mantra is Om Namah Shivaya. It means I bow to the God within. I bow to my mighty I am present. Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, right. Now, at this speed, you can say the mantra 1,000 times at this speed that I'm going to give you right now. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. You can say it 1,000 times at that speed in 20 minutes, which means that you can do 3,000 within 1 hour. Now, if you took out the time, 3 hours a day, morning, noon, and night, to do that, you'd be able to get in. So let's say you'd be able to get in 10,000 japa a day, 3 hours and 20 minutes. 10,000 japa means repetition of mantra. So if you take 3 hours and 20 minutes out of your day, you could be walking to and fro, or you may have 3 hours of free time, or you just set it up in your schedule sometime a day, morning, noon, and night, however it works out for you. You'll be able to get in 10,000 japa or mantras a day. Now, 10,000. In the Japa Yoga book, anybody that asks me for it, anybody that sends me the information want it. This is the science of the mantra, the science of repeating the name of God, right? Whoever wants it, I'll send it to you for free. High power book, super high power. It's literally, it's magic. And so after about 15 years of that, you'll be in a God conscious state. Now, some people may think that's a long time, 15 years, especially if you're in New York, when a minute is 45 seconds. It's a very short period of time, and it'll go by like that. It's about doing it. It's simply about doing it. Now, I was reading in the back of this book, which we're doing now, I Am Present, chapter, volume 3. In the later chapters, Jesus is saying, Jesus, every time he comes in in these chapters where Saint Germain is letting him come in and give some info, he's telling us how you become godlike, how you become the Christ. Like in the Bible, he said, these things that I do, ye shall also do, right? Everything he's saying is like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And he's cracking it. He's not playing at all. He's like, look, you will attain manifestation through using the decrees. As you use the decrees, you're going to gain the ability to manifest. And the more you use it, the more you'll gain manifestation of doing it. And what does he mean? It's a simple thing. In the same way, do me a favor. Can you give me a weight over there? So a weight. I think there's a weight over here, or anywhere you see one of the weights that we had around this place. Thank you. Now, this is a very light weight, right? If I keep doing this every day, or every other day, discipline, build the muscles, and let them rest, build the muscles, do some other, work on some other muscles, building them, right? That muscle is going to get big. And it's going to happen really rapidly. Even for an old man like myself, it's going to happen rapidly, right? You do the decrees. it's going to happen even faster. If you do a dynamic tension, it's going to happen even faster. So the mantra, you're doing it with your heart. The decrees, you're doing it with dynamic tension. Like, for example, the decree for the brain, which we all need because they're spraying stuff every day. They're spraying that stuff so we get stuck with Alzheimer's and dementia. That's what they're doing it for. You know, and the things they're putting in, they're weaponizing the earth, all the elements against us, as well as medicine, the water, the food, right? They're weaponizing these things against us to get us off, right? And for the most part, everybody on this channel knows what I'm talking about. You will get ability to manifest through use. Let's say you're doing, you feel that your memory is gone. So do the decrees for the brain. Saint Germain gave us this decree. I am the quickening of the cells, and this my brain structure, causing it to expand and receive the intelligent direction of the mighty inner presence. That's the decree. I'm the quickening of the cells. Say it like, as you get space to say it like this, right? You don't want to be all doing this around people and they're looking at you like you're crazy. But I am the quickening of the cells, and this my brain structure, causing it to expand and receive the intelligent direction of the mighty inner presence. Now, I want total recall of mind. So I add on there, giving me total recall of mind, godlike mental abilities, and absolute physical perfection. So it will go like this. I'm the quickening of the cells, and this is my brain structure, causing it to expand and receive the intelligent direction of the mighty inner presence, giving me total recall of godlike mental abilities, absolute physical perfection. And you say that, especially in the afternoon. There's the financial decrees. I am the opposite of God, and my hands in use right now and forever. It doesn't take long to say that. So you set up a discipline to say these decrees. And I have them listed, and anybody who wants it, just text me. I'm going to send it to you. It's free. And there's a book that I'll be sending to you. It's called Japa Yoga. You can learn about how it actually, the science of how the power of the spoken word works, right? You set up your discipline, and believe me, God will know you. He will recognize you. Your own God self is watching you all the time. You are it. You know, you just jumped into that ego. Like I've said many times before, we create the ego, we jump into it, and we think it is ourselves. It ain't. It's just something that we made up. A personality we made up. Some of the personalities are not so detrimental. Most of them are. Most of them are filled with lying, stealing, hatred, and dislike is hatred. Resentment is hatred. Criticism, condemnation, judgment, or blame, all of these block us. So I've discovered recently, trying to work with criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, a little difficult for me, right? Something as that it seems to me that was put in my DNA, because my father was very critical. Although he was a good guy, you know, he was a loving man and he was wise. He was critical. Now I know why he was critical, because I was a problem. You know, he had a wild son. He had a wild son. You know, I just started kind of calming down a few years ago, and he was trying to get me, you know, just to dig stuff, but it was something that stuck. So a technique to try and work on it: stop talking 2 hours out of the day. This is what our guru did when we were living in the ashram in India. From 12 to 2 was silent time. Nobody could talk. Now, as I was there over the years, being in the fire of yoga, you know, I heard of humility, but I never used that word where I was coming from. Oh my God! Now something is gone. Jaden, you mess with the phone? Somebody trying to call? Will you please come back here to put this thing together? I got to go here. Go back to Zoom. All right, here we go. Go into silence. If you want to correct this thing that's really holding us back, this criticism, condemnation, judgment, or blame. Saint Germain says this is the problem throughout the universe. Criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame. I thought it might have been just Earth, but he's saying this is the problem throughout the universe. And the cure or the remedy is to say the law of forgiveness. Say the law of forgiveness. Now, to nullify it, to call it back. Because what you put out there, you know, you've let it loose. And if you don't call it back, it's going to be there and it's going to come back to you. And you sent it out single file, but it's coming back in battalions. Because it went to the person you sent it to, it affected everybody around him and everything that it passed through as it went mentally in the air to that person. And then it has a return journey. And that return journey is coming back to you with everything that is gathered. In other words, like I said, you send it out single file. It comes back to you in battalions. This is the law of karma. And that's how it works. So you really want to get over criticism, go into silence for longer periods of time. If you can. Show me what it is I got again. It's which one? I'm on my phone, y'all, so this is some of the problems I'm having. If you can, just stop the call before they come in. So while I was out there burning in the fire of yoga, I'm around a lot of people that didn't look like me. Europeans from here who are brainwashed to see us as criminals and so forth. And Indians, the world is pretty much brainwashed, but Indians, they got their caste system. And in their mind, Blacks and Africans are the lowest caste, even though the majority of Indians are far darker than any of us Black people, far darker. You know, many of us have this red tone, which is indicative that we're natives of this land. But the Indians have a whole, and somebody, whoever got their phone on, please mute it. All right, so I'm dealing with them, and I'm coming from America, and I'm like, are you crazy? You know, some of the people snap their fingers like that at you to come to them. I'm like, oh man, look. But I had to learn humility, right? And it came to a point, I just stopped talking altogether for months. If I wasn't repeating the name of God, chanting the name of God, I wasn't talking. And what ended up happening was, after about 3 months, a whole new person emerged. Somebody was more centered within themselves. You're a celibate all that time, so you got that under control. But a whole new person emerged. They had much more forgiving, much forgiveness, much more tolerance, a far greater awareness, and way more love. Because by staying inside yourself, you're not jumping into that ego that you created, that personality that you created, the false self, right? That has a lot of power, but it has one objective, and that's to destroy. The ego has one objective, that is to destroy. It is not your friend, and it will trick you on every level. See if we can get it again. It will trick you on every level. So this is the work. The work is getting us out of the ego, because the self is already pure. You don't have to do anything for yourself. It's already filled of love. It's already that magnificent God reality. It's the ego that we've identified with. It's the ego that we thought is us. This is the problem. And the way we get to it, the way we burn it, so to say, is with prayer, decrees, mantras, chanting, meditation, scriptural study, and service to the guru, the master, God, all this, which is all one. This is how we sort of like lasso it, and then bring that wild thing in, like we're breaking a horse. That's how we got to break the ego, all right? So I had this program. I did want to show you. I have the program. I did want to show it to you, and it'll have to be next week. But I want to start with the discourse now, and I want to say, I hope everyone who is watching this has the same attitude that I do about it. You know, those who I've been working with almost 2 years now. We're not looking just to have a course. We're looking to attain ascension, and it is in your grasp. It is in your hand. As long as you're alive, it is in your grasp. It is in your hand. You can accomplish this. and it don't take years and years and years. You'd be surprised how fast it takes. Now we're going to be reading this chapter. I'll be reading this chapter, and what we're going to be doing is looking for the jewels on the pages of this chapter. Those things that we were like, this is a jewel. Oh man, this is something that will help change my life. As I read, what we're looking for is those things, and I'll explain some of these things as I go along. I wish I could say everybody ask a question, but I can't see everyone except the user said. And the user said, if you got any questions, just chime in. You know how we do. All right. So I'm over here on the first paragraph on page 236. You remember where we left off, everyone? All right. If you can cam up anybody else, Brother Hank, please do. The outer mind, through long habit, has given enormous power to drugs and remedial agents of every kind. But do you not see that the only thing that does, Sister Kim, okay, wonderful, what a beautiful picture. Has given enormous power to drugs and remedial agents of every kind. But do you not see that the only thing that does it is the power and authority you give to it? It too have an effect upon your body. I do not mean for a single instant that individuals who have not become aware of the I am presence should cease all remedial agents. Like he's talking about medicines and so forth. We know that the medicines that they're giving us now are pure poison because they're telling us that. They're telling us that the medicines that we're giving, this is what I mean by weaponizing, the minerals and elements against us. They're telling us, you take this medicine, you're going to die. You're going to commit suicide, or you're going to get cancer, or you're going to get some other disease that's worse than whatever you have. Anyway, I do not mean that the single instant that individuals who have not become aware of the I am present should cease all remedial agents. But if they will fix in their minds firmly that no outer thing has any power in their experience except what they give it, they will begin to rise out of the limitations into which they have placed themselves. In other words, if you think, they'll give you a placebo when they're testing things. They give you a placebo, but the placebo works, even though it's just a sugar pill, because you're giving it power to work for you. It's the same with the medicine also, Here, let me say that 90% of the power given to outer things is unconsciously given, and even most students are not aware of it. Now, to turn about and give this great God presence within you all power to do the things you require and wish to do will accomplish them with a speed and certainty far beyond what any outside remedial agent could do. We're talking about medicines, right? Or whatever it is we think that's going to cure us, right? The truth of the matter is, it's not. We're curing ourselves. Our God, our inner God force is curing us all the time. Now, I want to say this so everyone who's listening is clear. God helps those who help themselves. Now, the way I look at this is real simple, right? You got a problem, physical problem, whatever it may be. You ask God to cure you. You say the decrees for that cure, and you bang them out. Don't play with it. I mean, put dynamic tension behind it. FW, can you give me my blue book? My blue, it's in the bedroom. It's a decree book. You do that because God helps those who help themselves. So God is doing the cure for you. So when you say these decrees to bring about the cure, do it with dynamic tension. It will make it happen just that much more faster. Prayers you say sweetly, kindly, like that. You're doing your prayers softly, sweetly, right? But when you do, and so, no, not this one, it's the light blue one. When you do when you're doing your decrees, you are acting as if you are God. When you're praying to God, you are supplicating God to do something for you because you feel you can't do it for yourself. But when you do your decrees, you are saying, I know I am the God self within. I know I am God. And through the power of the spoken word, I'm manifesting. All right? But that does not mean you don't drink water. That does not mean you don't eat pure food. That does not mean that you can't use some natural medicine from the earth and not these poisons that they're giving us. What it means is God helps those who help themselves, but know that God is doing this. You just giving a little push for yourself according to what you have here. And don't forget that technology at a certain point equals God. That's a science. That's real for real. All right. So let me continue here. Some will grasp this idea with tremendous tenacity, while others will require more effort. But it is surely worthwhile making any effort to accomplish it, your own healing. Remember, the I Am Presence knows all things for all eternity, in all ways, past, present, and future, without limit. If the student would think of this great presence, contemplate it, and know that it is all love, wisdom, and power, then when he fixes his attention on something to be accomplished, he knows this presence is the open door, the all powerful accomplishment, and it cannot fail. It cannot fail. When we think about the God presence that's within us, it's blue. I last had it in the room. It might be underneath the, when we think about the God present within us, or we think about God, period, we're talking about a tremendous power that is at our disposal in full force. I have seen this power. I've seen how it comes into our head. It is like a tornado. It's not a beam of light. It is like a tornado of energy. It's blue and it whirls around like a tornado. And that is the power that is at our disposal. Now, why aren't we using that power to manifest like Jesus did, or like my guru, or many of the other masters do? Because we're living in the ego, which has no power. We're living in the ego. We're living in a whole bunch of negativity that we create, that usually right through our mouth, we're creating, right from our tongue, we're creating our own misfortune by the things we think and say, but most especially the things we say. So if we just change the direction of our words, it will have a great effect on what manifests in our life, right? Let me start from here again. Remember, the I Am Presence knows all things. Let me go up here. It is all love, wisdom, and power. Then when he fixes his attention on something to be accomplished, he knows this presence is the open door, all powerful accomplishment, and it cannot fail. Call on the law of forgiveness. That's a jewel, y'all. Call on the law of forgiveness and direct the energy of the master self to correct and adjust the wrong. And in that way, obtain freedom from its reaction. All right. So in other words, call it back. Call it back. You put out criticism, condemnation, judgment, or blame. Call it back. How do you call it back? Say the law of forgiveness, which is a decree that I'll send to everybody, and then silently say, whoever is you criticizing, I send to you the love of my heart to bless and prosper you. This is what Saint Germain says to do. This nullifies the energy you just threw out there. And this doesn't go for just people. It's criticism for any person, place, condition, or thing, right? And I want to speak on this just a tad, because I know we do it because we feel like it's a right, especially African Americans, right? Or us. The whole world knows our condition. And we knew that remember when we had this Iran thing where Jesse Jackson was able to bring the people home, but the president of the land couldn't do it. Well, before that, they let all the black people go. They let all the black people go. I'm saying this because the whole world knows our condition. They knew that having blacks captured, holding blacks hostage meant nothing. So they just let all the blacks go. Ayatollah just let them go because they don't want them. They'd probably be glad if they killed us. Just let us go. So the world knows our situation. The world also sees other things that we don't even see in ourselves. How great we are, how we change everything, right? When rap comes, now the world is doing rap. But that's something we created, right? And Jazz, that's something we created. Blues, that's something we created. Just think about the things that we create, that we brought into America, that spread around the world like that. The world sees that. Even Malcolm X going across the world. People look at me when I was traveling around the world, different places. Malcolm X, that's what they say. You know, they don't know no English, but they can say Malcolm X, especially if they can see you're a Black American, because we do look different than our African counterpart, because we got the genes of the world in our blood, right? We don't have to criticize the situation that we're in. We can empower ourselves without saying, oh, the white man this, the white man that, because truth be told, our situation is very much like Don Corleone's in The Godfather was. He's thinking it's Tatalia that's the one that's starting the trouble. And all the while, it's Brazini. We're thinking that it's white people that's causing the problems, when all the while, it's the sinister forces. And there are more than one. But they are behind the scenes. They're paying them. They're motivating them. They're giving them the position to do what they do to us, right? Initially, when they came to America, this concept of white, there was no whites. They didn't look at themselves as white. They was killing each other before they came here. Killing each other, murdering each other. Then when they finally got through that wall that was put around them, they realized, man, we got a whole world that we can go and do wickedness and let's go around the world and do our wickedness everywhere we could go. It's almost as if it was their nature. Well, we can see that it was. At the same time, there's another branch of knowledge that says we created them. We genetically manipulated them out of ourselves. Of course, this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says. There's a whole school of thought that's saying, you know, they are our children. They are our wayward children. So as wayward as they are, what we do know for sure is if we was to go after them, the sinister forces would love it, because our enemies will still be in full power, doing what they would have us do anyway. Because what they've been doing through the centuries, through the millennia, is putting one against the other. Chinese against Japanese, you know, Puerto Ricans against Dominicans, blacks against white. Oh man, it will never end, right? If they bring another person here, they got blue skin, and there are people in the interior earth with blue skin, they would have the blue skin against whoever they want to put them against. So our enemy is not the white man. Our biggest enemy is the ego that we created. Because what's going to happen is no ego, it's only the self. And that's the power that can manifest immediately. That's the power that can create a city of love and light, where people will say, I'm going to that place because it's so wonderful. Being there, I feel like myself. Being there, I don't feel a hatred. Being there, I'm out of this ego and this wickedness. All right. Let me continue so we don't have to criticize even our situation. Remember, person, place, condition, or thing. All right. Call on the law of forgiveness and direct the energy of the master self to correct and adjust the wrong, and in that way obtain freedom from its reaction. In other words, call it back. What we send out, call it back. And I have, and anybody that wants it, I'll send it to you, right? The decrees to call back what you unleash through the power of the spoken word. You see, my dear people, that there is much, and this is Saint Germain speaking now. You see, my dear people, that there is so much unnecessary power given to the outer activity and stress of things which the I am presence cares absolutely nothing about. It is at no time concerned with the mistakes of the outer self. So in other words, what we do, being that we are immortal beings that forget ourselves, God don't care about that. You know, he just don't care. You know, he knows we got to pay for what we do. But what God is caring about is us coming back into the Trinity that we belong to. They're getting to ascend back in. And the way we do it is through this body. You don't think you're going to do it outside the body. You got to come back to this plane to do it. That's what God cares about. That's what our Trinity cares about. That's what we should be caring about. God is not concerned with our wickedness, that if we're on this planet, believe it is severe. Because of what they told us, what the ascended masters have told us, is that Earth is the most wicked planet in the universe. Not the solar system, not the galaxy, but the universe. So this is not a nice place. It's a prison planet. And the symbol astrologically for Earth is a circle with bars on it. This is the prison planet. But there's a way out. All right? These are the ways out. If the individual but understood that he could turn away from all these discordant activities and give the master I am presence within all authority and power to dissolve and dissipate the wrong conditions, he could never in any way feel the reactions from his wrongdoings. That's too deep. When the individual, that's a jewel, when the individual allows himself or herself to continue to criticize, condemn, or judge another of his fellow being, he is not only injuring the other person, but is unknowingly admitting into his own experience the very element that he is seeing wrong in the other person. I wanted to say, damn. So in other words, what he said here, in other words, okay, as we criticize somebody else, what we are doing is forcing that quality into ourselves over time. Dang. Tell it, y'all. Tell it. The true understanding of this will make it easy for individuals to forever cease such undesirable activities when they know that it is for their own protection. Their own protection. Jesus. Let us put it in another way. Whatever the conscious attention is fixed firmly upon, that quality is impelled into the experience of the individual. Whatever an individual sees with deep feeling within another individual. Oh my God. So, in other words, if we see this critical aspect of somebody else with an intense feeling like anger, oh, we're just planting it in our own selves. We're planting it in our own selves. My God. He forces it into his own experience. Let's read that again. Let us put it in another way. Whatever the conscious attention is fixed upon, that quality is impelled into the experience of the individual. Whatever an individual sees with deep feeling within another individual, he forces into his own experience. This is a jewel, y'all. This is a powerful jewel. This is the indisputable proof of why the only desirable feeling to be sent out from any individual is the presence of divine love. And I mean by that, pure, unselfish love. You know, not seeing the opposite sex and saying, you know, he's strong, oh, I want to get with that, or she's fine. Something else. Students oftentimes wonder why they have so many conditions in their experience to handle as they become more and more sensitive. It is because they see an appearance which they have been taught to know is not real. Let me read that again. It is because they see an appearance which they have been taught to know is not real. And by allowing their attention to become fixed upon it, they not only invite, but force it into their own world, and then have a battle in order to clean house. This can be avoided by instantly taking the attention off the appearance knowingly. I know I am free from all these things forever, no matter what it is. Let's say that again. I know I am free from all these things forever, no matter what it is. My guru used to tell a story of a man who was in an enchanted forest.
What happened? Lalji, you stuck?
Okay, family. Presently, Brother Lalji is having some transmission difficulties. So we just hold patiently as I'm monitoring. I just something told me to come into the room because I was in the kitchen eating some peanut butter. And something said, you better take yourself over there to that camera. And sure as I sat down, I saw Lalji's screen froze up. So while he's working on getting back on, I'm going to share some video that's highly informative pertaining to the subject of personal empowerment. This is our co-hostess, Brother Baraka, and I'll screen through as a time filler.
Okay.
Calling out the warrior in you, the healer in you, the king, the queen in you, the trickster in you. Every single day we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that's holding you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere and it's right in your face. Let's go.
Okay. Now, can you hear me, brother Uncle Hanky? All right, cool. All right. So I was so an apple drops down to him. Then he thinks, wow, I wonder if I could get a bushel of flowers. Next thing you know, a bushel of flowers appear right in his hand. He's bringing about his reality through the power of the spoken word. Then he says, what about a super beautiful woman? And next thing he knows, he sees the super beautiful woman coming down the meadow toward where he's at. You know, and then he goes, wait a minute, I've asked for things. And it seems like everything that I think is coming right to me. Suppose I think of a snake. Next thing you know, a snake is right in front of him. I hope it doesn't bite me. And bam, it bites. This is how we're living. This is how we're living our life. We're amazed at the things that we bring up that are good, but we really expect the things that we say or bring up that are bad. Let's expect the good only. All right, let me continue.
Can I ask a question, Lalji?
Please do.
So what we just read, is that like when they say if you see something in a person that you don't like, then you have that same attribute in yourself. But what this is saying, that when you see something that you don't like, you're bringing it to yourself. That's what that just said, what we just read. You're actually causing it.
You're causing it in yourself.
Causing it in yourself.
You're forcing it. Yeah, you're forcing it in. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
we really have to watch what we think
and say. We may get
And
a little
say.
break from what and say, most especially what we say, right? Consider this.
Right.
I was reading a story about a guy who took a birth to be a drunk, to be a bum, so that this one guy could see him. He was born in the vicinity where this man lived. This man had a problem of being a drunk himself, an alcoholic. You know, he had tales. He was rich, but he was a drunk too, right? He was an alcoholic also. But
Okay.
that was a indigent on the street, a derelict drunk. It made him want to not only change himself, but help other people. This same guy created Alcoholic Anonymous. So when
Oh,
we
okay.
we're seeing things from our point of view. We can't see what God is doing and what God is creating, right? We don't see that. But if we keep our mind open, if we keep our hearts open, whenever we see another human being or an animal, that is God in manifestation. That is God in manifestation. JD wants to ask a question.
So is it kind of like in the book?
You need to sit here, sir. I don't think they can hear you.
Sorry, it's kind of like in that book, Raising the Curtain, with when
Yeah.
the drunk,
Yeah.
or not the drunk, but the bum, he was there, but everybody saw him a different way. But what he really came to do was to.
I think it's how books are. Is a book called Raising the Curtain by a guy named Rodolfo Benavides. This is a perfect example of what you're saying, Sister Eustace said. In fact, what we are both saying. In this one over here, yeah. There's a guy, his name was Filomeno. This book of Raising the Curtain, it happened in Mexico. Initially, it started in Mexico. And when I was teaching this a class up north, some you buy real estate with a minimum wage job, right? And but they would see all the pictures around the house, and they knew my sons was in there. So books, and they said, "This is Selassie. Can we learn about the spirit stuff you're teaching too?" Because you know the basic religions are kind of like outmoded to a large degree, and the young people just ain't buying what they're getting. I said, "Sure, if you guys want to." All of those now, not one came except my sons, and only Latinos came. So I said, "Well, then y'all my people now." And so I got this book, Raising the Curtain, high-powered, super duper high-powered book to teach them, because it was in Mexico, right? So this guy named Filomeno, he was a derelict. He had this, well, he looked like a derelict because nobody would help him. He had sores all over his body. And you could see, it looked like he was dying, really. But this guy, Augusta, who had a big heart, he had a big heart. As a little boy, as a kid, would give him food. And he came from a rich family. His family had a big farm. They were rich. And he would give Filomeno food. So he this what he thought was food, and said, "No, I'm not gonna stop it. You feed him." So she said, "I'll feed him, but you stay away from him." And so he stayed away from Filomeno, and then he found out that his mother was giving Filomeno food from that was feeding the pigs slop and just horrible food. And Augusta was so hurt to Filomeno, "You doing this is horrible. Why would you give him such food? It's horrible. I'm going to feed him myself from now on. I'm going to feed him. I don't trust you no more." He's still, right? And his mother said, "I'm sorry, I won't do that. We'll give him a shack where he could live in, and we'll make sure that we give him good food." So he was there every day to make sure he got that good food this time. He wasn't playing with it. He saw his mother wasn't doing the right thing. The whole town had shunned this man. And nobody could say, "This is God right here." Nobody could think whatever's going on, this is God at work right here. For whatever reason, this got this man filled with this disease because he had a disease. This is God, right? Nobody said that. But Augustine, just a little boy, showed love to this man. He came and fed him. And the man was wise. So he would talk to him about spiritual things or so forth and so on. And Augustine was just terribly interested in what he was saying. And, he could see that the man had love in him, right? As time went by, Augustine became a young man. Philomeno died, right? And as time would go by, Augustine, a young man, right? One of the things that he experienced was he was allowed to go to a very planet so much higher than this planet. It's like amoebas to human beings right now, right? And he saw a statue of Philip, this planet that he was taken to, that he was allowed to go to. That the only way you could even be invited to that planet is somebody, or rather go to that planet is somebody invited you, right? So he was invited by Philomeno. When he sees Philomeno, he's seeing Philomeno as a godlike being, all right? Now, why was he filled with this disease? He chose to take on this disease, this horrible disease that was contagious, that would become contagious and fill the whole planet and destroy this whole planet, then the solar system, then the galaxy. Philomeno took it on to stop it in its tracks as it manifested on Earth. Who could see that? Who could have the ability to see that but another God man? So when we see something happening that we don't like or we're going to criticize, we need to say, only God is acting there. We don't know. We only see it from our point of view, which is extremely limited. But these are rays of God. If we see this, we see this. I mean, there's nothing but horror to see in this world for the most part. If we look at it from that point of view, only God is acting there. Only God is there. God bless it. We seeing somebody acting wild and crazy. They don't want to act wild and crazy. They're just into that ego. Bless them. May God bless them. Only God is working there. You see somebody, they're indigent, I got two brothers with dope fiends. Do I know what they were dope fiend? I don't know, but I know I didn't become one. You understand? We don't have the authority to criticize, condemn, judge, or blame anybody. We don't. It was not given to us. The God of karma, that's their station. That's their work. The law of karma is how the God works. And so it benefits us to not live in that world. It benefits us to see whatever's going on, no matter how wicked it is. Say, God bless it. God bless it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Robert. Okay, to veggie back on what Sister Yususet said, she was, saying what we just read about you seeing someone, a trait in them. Is it the same thing to notice it and not have a judgment and take it on? If you just see that, oh man, this person likes to tell lies, but you're not condemning them or criticizing them, you're just making an awareness of it. There's no causation there, right?
If we're judging their lies or
No, we're not judging them. We're just, this person is always lying. It's just the notice of it doesn't make it a criticism or condemnation.
No, it doesn't. As long as that's not what you're doing, right?
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make it clear on that.
Yeah. Some people lie. I met a friend that just lied unnecessarily. But I had a sister that stole unnecessarily because she had plenty of money. And we would wonder. And then I realized she was raped. And even, believe this or not, even the government realizes this. My sister got arrested, I don't know, 200, 300, 400 times for stealing. They never put her in jail, ever. Because there was this rape case and it was a trial, right? And it was a trial, and that's part of her record. There's certain things that will happen when a woman gets raped. One of the things she would steal. Another one of the things that they will lie. Lying and stealing go hand in hand, right? oftentimes, if you steal, you're gonna lie, right? They waited until she got to be what, 40, for the judge to say to her, "Look, Florence, you have to pay something for this." But they knew it wasn't her being vicious or really criminal. It was psychological, right? So this jail, which means you're going to do 8 months. But what we're going to allow you to do is to be free through the week. You go in on Friday night and you get out on Sunday morning. Ain't that deep? This is the government itself knows this. This is deep, y'all. This is deep. Because they're like, what are we punishing this girl for? The petty things that she's stealing. Not only that, but she, she got raped by a 6-foot man, right? When she was about 10 years old. But my sister was very, very strong. She had strong personality. I mean, strong. When she was 2 years old, I was getting jumped by a whole bunch of guys, seemed like the whole block came to start fighting with me. I was 5. And my other brother and sister was there, right? And they wouldn't even come because all these guys is ganging up me fighting. I'm fighting them like wild. I'm kicking, punching, biting. I mean, I really felt alive. I'm telling you, I felt alive. I didn't feel afraid. I was battling. It was bam, bam. And I mean, they hemmed up against the car, my hands, my legs, and my head. Whenever I could. So my little sister, who was 2 years old, get off him. That's my brother. She come grab him, pulling him like this, right? Then when she saw she couldn't do much, she went and got rocks, bottles, sticks. Get off him. She was 2 years old. And they were was trying to handle a little space like about this. When I saw that head, I've been saying, but they know that they know they have an exact science. They see how we did in school. They see if we got arrested or this, that, and the other. They know exactly how we're going to manifest. So the best thing for us to understand is people are doing what they're doing because of other things that happened to them. They came here as the clean force of God. But on this wicked planet, things happen to them. For ourselves, we should say, why did the force of God get contaminated in this way? May God bless them. That has a great effect on them. Because all the blessings that you send out, just the criticism, condemnation, judgment, and blame, comes back to you. All the blessings you send out, and then consider this. How much does it cost? And what does it take for you to send out blessings to anyone that you see? So to keep out of trouble, Sister Lucretia, I would say, see this horror coming around you, because you're cracking this, right? When you see this, just God bless them. Only God is acting there. I wonder, what is this all about? Sister Jadine wants to say something.
I just wanted to say that.
I don't know if they can hear you.
I just wanted to say that one of my idols that I admire so much and will always and forever admire him is Michael Jackson. When he was not pleased with something, I couldn't even curse. He would tell him, God bless you. God bless everybody, everyone. If he was upset or if he's not getting what he wanted or something is not going his way, he's thinking, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you.
I remember seeing a documentary of Michael. There was in a production that he stood on the top of this thing and he was just saying, God bless you. To everyone over there, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. And I saw him say something negative about him. And it was like he couldn't get it out of his mouth. He wanted to say it and it couldn't come out of his mouth. So I remember when he passed, my youngest son said to me, he said, Dad, the sister forces took him back into their community because they were being, the ascended masters took him back into their community because they didn't want him to stay here and suffer any longer. That's what my youngest son said. He said, that's what happened, Dad. Oh, really? And so I mean, look, we're here, from what we are told, on the most wicked planet in the universe. If you become ascended on the most wicked planet in the universe, you alone can go to another planet where there are no ascended masters and convert that whole planet over time. That's how powerful you are, being an ascended master from here, or attaining ascension here. You can change a whole planet to the God conscious state. This is what Saint Germain, Jesus, and the whole holy host. Saint Germain started this project alone. Nobody helped him. Then, because they were going to destroy this planet in 1932. Even his master was saying, look, this is wholesale wickedness. It's going to contaminate not only the soul, destroy Earth. Destroy Earth. You know, like that what do you call it? That not the photon belt, that's something different. With all them rocks out there, there was a planet. How could I get the asteroid belt? That was a planet. It was called Lucifer. And oh boy, they were wreaking holy hell in this galaxy. And it was destroyed. You know, it was destroyed. They could have stopped the beings that came that blew up that planet. They could have stopped them. Ascended masters could have stopped them. They said no, it is so wicked, destroy it. It's when the time came for Saint Germain put up his own ascension to give Earth another chance. And if he fails, he got to come back down like us. But he ain't going to fail. Because all the other ascended masters, angels, archangels, and others said, look, we got to help Saint Germain. You know, let's go in there and let's do what we can to uplift humanity. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but Jesus appeared in the church on 33rd Street in Manhattan in the flesh. And he fed people in that church. It ain't common knowledge, but this is one of the facts. Jesus is here, Saint Germain is here, many ascended masters are here, and you may not know who they are, but they are here. And they're looking to turn the planet so that everyone will be an ascended master. That's their plan. I want to join in on that plan, y'all. I want to rock with that. Why? I like being a godlike being. I've been in that state. And man, it haunts me to this very day that I got to get back there. I got to get back to that. And what does it take? How much energy does it take to sit down and meditate? Or the mantra, pray, or decrees? What could be easier than this? Anyway, let's continue. We get time. This all comes, of course, from a lack of self-control in the individual, or an unwillingness to use the self-control to govern the outer. There are these two distinct conditions with students who make the effort, but unwillingly allows his attention to become fixed on undesirable things. Like, you know you need money, but instead of calling reality through the power of the spoken word, you think about, gee, I'm broke, I'm poor. Maybe I need another job, or if I could get 2 jobs, or anything other than using the power of the spoken word that must manifest to bring into your life all the money you need. Napoleon Hill, who was the grandfather of the science of success, he said, if you say your decree in the morning and in the night, you will bring it into your life. And your goal 12 times a day, it is impossible for that thing not to come into your life. If that's the case, the power for whatever we want will come into our life, no matter what it is, no matter what. You could be black and want to be president of the United States, okay? And take it further. You could want to be a godlike being and become one, which leads to being a president of the greatest world to be an insignificant thing, because there's nothing that equals becoming God. All right. The other one, through a quality of stubbornness, is unwilling to make No teacher should at any time hold a thought of criticism, for if he does, he will invite that same criticism unto himself. If students get the right idea about this, they will stop it for their own protection. If one keeps silently seeing a discrepancy in another, it is even worse than the spoken word, for it allows the force to accumulate. Let me say that again, because this is a jewel. In the thing over here, in the side of this book, I got, in the columns over here. Oh my God, I want to read this again. One silently seeing discrepancy in another, it is even worse than the spoken word, for it allows the force to accumulate. So when we see somebody, we think they're fat, the fat one, this one, that, and the other, we'll allow it. It's like a force that will build up in us, even if we don't say anything. So the best thing to do is God bless them. God bless them. Whenever we see something we think is wrong, this and that, keep the wickedness out of our mouth. God bless them. But he's saying something even more. When discrepancies are forced upon your attention, simply say to your I am presence, there is the I am presence within that person, and with the human, I am not concerned. This is what Saint Germain says. There is the I am present within that person, and with the human, which is the ego. When they say the human, they mean the God that went out of the God self and into this ego. I am. There is the I am person. Human, I am not concerned. So in other words, God only is there. That's a jewel. That's a treasure chest of jewels. Sister Lucretia, that's a treasure chest. Treasure chest, right? I mean, serial killer. There is God in that person. Who knows why they're that? But now consider this, y'all. Consider this. Here you got a serial killer going out doing whatever they're doing, generally because they were treated real cruel when they were little kids, right? That's a psychological profile, right? There's more to it than that, because I was talking to this agent who was taking the remote viewing course in Virginia. And he was telling me, he said, this force was coming out of the atomic experiments. And there's 2,000 experiments on this planet that we know of. And he said, we believe that this force that will allow somebody to become a serial killer came out of these experiments. Nonetheless, we look at a serial killer and this is the evil, everything that we want to say about it, right? But then we'll look at somebody who go to war and kill 10 times as many people as that serial killer and call that person a hero, right? We admire like mafia gangsters, so forth and so on, who do the same thing, right? But we don't see them as who they are. And they'll even tell people to go kill people for them. And we don't know who they are. What's the difference between these people? One is told by the government to go and do it, and he does it, and we herald that person as if they're somebody great. Even in the scriptures. Look at Arjuna. Look at Radheya. Look at many people in the scriptures that were warriors. We look at them like they're great heroes. And some of them attained God consciousness because that was their duty, to be a warrior. We look at things and we see it from our point of view only. What we say, there's only God acting there. So something to think about.
How could you say that when you have people like Jeffrey Dahmer murdering, cooking, killing, and eating people? How could you say that? How could God be in that?
God is in everything. God hides out in every electron. That's what God hides, within the electrons in the universe.
Can you repeat what Jadine said so we can hear it?
Jadine said, Jadine, if you're going to be asking questions, sit here so that everybody can hear you.
Sorry. What I said was, how could God be in everything? I mean, picture Jeffrey Dahmer. He not only killed people, he chopped them up, he ate them. How could God be in something like that? I don't get that.
I would say this to that. To and fro to go murder them, not only murder their flesh and drink their, we're drinking their blood because we make it into a grave. We put a little flour in it, a little seasoning and carrying on.
Okay.
But we are drinking blood.
Okay.
And we think, you think those animals are happy with killing them and eating them?
That's
You
why I
know,
don't
but
eat
we
them.
don't say, look, you know, what you just said. We say, you know, hey, it's all right to eat them. Well, see, there's people who eat us. The Draco eat us. And the exact thing that they say is you don't got a leg to stand on. You're eating any animal that walks, and you also eat other human beings. You human beings are, so you eat everything. We don't eat everything. So you got nothing to say. That's what the Draco is saying about us. But what can we really say about what we're doing? How is what we're doing different than what Jeffrey Dahmer is doing? Because it's an animal. Look how much more intelligent animals are than human beings. They know an earthquake is coming. They know a flood is coming. They know all kinds of stuff. They are super intelligent. Look at the dogs. Look how intelligent they are. Look at the animals are intelligent. Why are we eating them? Why are we cooking? And then think about it. What are we actually doing? We're eating the carcasses of dead animals and seasoning their blood for nourishment. Jesus is God. You know, I mean, you know, we don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to that. Now, I'm an ordinary guy, and I'm saying this, right? What God is saying about us wholesaling, I mean, getting cattle, I mean, just football fields, bigger than football fields of cows and chickens and turkeys, all this stuff that we're slaughtering, eating their dead carcasses, seasoning their blood and drinking. This, and the Satanists do that. And they're like, they're criticizing us for doing the same thing they're doing because they think they're saying to themselves, this is acceptable. Why in the world would you want to eat the carcass of a dead animal and think you're doing right?
I still don't get how that has to do with me finding God
Think on
in
it.
him eating people.
My wife is saying she don't see how one is related to the other because she believes that animals are beneath us, that they're not God too. It's okay for us to eat them, but it's not okay for you to eat another human being. And human beings are doing this all the
Lalji,
time.
she's gonna have to get closer to the mic because we can't hear what she's saying. She's gonna have to get better
Okay,
close up on the mic. It's just a muffled
so
sound.
all right, so you can ask me what the question. She's still wondering why how can we a gap to eat as opposed to
Eating an animal, eating a pig,
Not
a
gonna work.
dog, or whatever.
as us opposed to eating animals. Well, I think that animals with beings and not alive. Well, start thinking about that. You know, human beings, it's like this. Animals live in fear. Gods live in happiness. Human beings live in lamentation. That's how we live. The difference between a god and an animal is they're stuck in those positions. We are in the middle. We can decide to live like an animal, us do, so we will get births as animals, or we can decide to live like a god and elevate ourselves out of this what amounts to a wretched condition. But human birth is very rare. The Guru says the human birth is very rare. Just because you are a human being now is no guarantee that you're going to be a human being in your next life. We got to remember, we are immortal beings in mortal bodies to learn lessons. And the way God sees it, you think he don't love a dog? We love the dogs. But in China, they eat and rats and cats and many other things. Oh yeah. They have them in cages and they we want dog meat today and chop it up, give it back home. And I mean, we can criticize them, we can look it down like that. What? So we don't eat rats and cats and so forth. We eat chickens and turkeys and cows and horses. Okay? We got no leg to stand on. And then look at the human beings that they keep it secret. Now y'all out in California, there are so many Satanists in California that they gave California its own principality. They eat other human beings, babies, and drink their blood. They're selling adrenochrome, which is what they get human being that they blood. And it keeps them alive and extends their life. We got no. Go ahead.
Lalji, were Satanists born with a I am presence? I mean, because like she was talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, but what about people that just kill people? So you're saying that they were all born with, or do they reject the I am presence, or do they turn or something? How does that work? And plus, there's no law. There's no law against killing animals. Sorry to say that. I don't eat them, but it's a law against killing people. There's no law against killing animals.
Do you think that animals, if they had the power to make laws, would say, "Hey, okay, kill us"? Okay.
They would. I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. But I was wondering, how do people become Satanists? How do they become Satanists? How do they?
Listen, I want to interject.
Okay.
This whole audience, if you spoke of someone ill, you already did verbal murder. In our broken-hearted, wounded soul community, it is a community that's dysfunctional and also acoustical assassins, especially behind each other's back. So you're no better than Adolf Hitler or any other mass murderer, because you do it through the spoken word, the misuse of the spoken word. You're murderers because that's the way you was raised. You was raised to vent rage and disdain from the cradle to the grave. And that's why I'm sponsoring us as a people have to become musicians, spoken word masters, even in the darkness of our nights when ain't nobody else around. We have to become better at our thoughts and feelings and our spoken word, especially sisters, because y'all can talk faster than a brother in a minute. Now, I'm out.
Oh, with that,
I want to brother said, because that question merits a deep answer. You Satan by what they're doing, and Satan himself is an edict, and that edict is this: shine, shine, you're doing fine. Make one mistake.
yes, yeah. I heard that one. Yeah.
What is he doing? Within allowed to do it. Same with the Draco, which I have a feeling, and my research leads Draco and the Nog, because the Nog is a snake that changes.
You're breaking up, Lalji.
Oh man, okay, let me get this. Let's see what I can do to fix this. Am I still breaking up?
Oh, you good
anyway.
now.
Okay. All right, now check this out, y'all. The Draco are doing to attain God. They're not doing what they're doing just to be wickedness. Attaining God. Let me say that again. It's very difficult to do. 95% wickedness, 5% good. We meet with them in the 8th dimension. We meet with all these evil beings on the 8th dimension as we're moving through time and space and spiritual attainment. In 8th dimension, with them. We are in association with them. We come together to ascension. All of them have, you think they're coming out of God, right? But Satan was the right hand of God, if Satan was the right hand of God, how long was he the right hand? And what must he know? How powerful is this person? You think God don't love him because he went awry? You think God don't want him to come back into the fold? What happened to him that made him become so wicked? See, these things that we think we got with a number of his other angels. Because if God wanted him gone, what would it take for him to take him out? He took out many other demons before. Many. The scriptures are filled with stories of God coming to earth, take out this. Right? So what happened? Matter of fact, who is he really? Remember me telling you all about the story about Jaya and Vijaya? Get my book for me. It's on top of the thing. It's on top of the thing, right? These are godlike beings that are so godly. They have reached the final edge. This is why I told you many times. Y'all gotta not only think that once you attain a certain quality, a quality of love, a quality of humility, quality, any quality, you got and you got. They got haughty because they were the gatekeepers of the doors of the Supreme Lord to get into his compound. Jaya and Vijaya were the great gatekeepers, but they were getting haughty in such a high position to be the very gatekeepers of God. What happened? The Kumaras came to Vaikuntha and they blocked them from getting in. But the Kumaras saw the negativity and the wickedness that they had developed within themselves. And I'm not saying wickedness. And let me make this real clear, y'all. We are talking about beings who are so elevated. They look like God. They got the exact same power. You wouldn't be able to tell them if you saw God and you saw them, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But they let themselves go. In a little thing, they got puffed up. They got self-impressed. How they look at first. Yeah, you keep looking that way. I look this. Oh, it must be one of these. And or could it be that one? And so they were cursed by the Kumaras. That Kumaras is he's got 3 other brothers. They're called the Kumaras, and they cursed them. Now they cursed as demons. In other words, to be Draco. All right. Draco. Now they still got that great power. They're not devoid of power, and they take over the whole universe. They went to the homes of the gods. They kicked them out of their homes, everything. They would reach the universe, not just Earth, and they lived on Earth. That God had to take birth to kill them. But what is this story? It's the picture, and it started the whole many times, but okay, like that. I can't see it that well. This is Jaya and Vijaya, okay? You guys got it? And those, yeah, I can't see it, but my wife put me so we can see it. And these little kids around them, they're millions of years old. And they curse, you see them cursing Jaya and Vijaya. Now let me tell you something I wondered about for a long time. They went to God and they said, "Oh Lord, we made a mistake." And the Kumar says, I can't change powerful beings, but I can modify it. So I'll tell you what, you can be my lifetimes, right? Or you could be my enemy for 3 lifetimes. Now let's consider this. These are godlike beings talking. These are godlike beings considering what it is that God told them how they can navigate this situation. Right? Now we're talking about super intelligent, we're talking about godlike intelligent beings. So they said, what would be best for us? Is the most important thing for us is to get back here as quickly as we can and be with God, or be God's friend? And they was like, oh, no, no, no. The most important thing is to get back here and be with God. So they decided, and they said to God, we'll take the birth as your birth. Now I'm telling this story for purpose. I told this story before, right? Now there was in the scriptures, there's they took birth as Hiranya and Hiranyakasipu, powerful demons, took over the universe. God came and killed them both. Then they took birth as Ravana and his brother Kumbhakarna. Same thing. So the universe, and they were speaking holy hell everywhere, all right? And nobody could beat them. God came down to earth, right? All of God's petitioned the Supreme Lord come down to earth to kill him, okay? Now remember, 3 births, 2 people, right? So we're talking about 6 births. Now, during the Dwapara Yuga, when Lord Krishna was on the earth, let me get that picture too. There was one of these 2 souls, right? Was cousin, one of his cousins, right? And his name was Shishu. See picture of Lord Krishna at this big Swayamvara, very powerful ceremony that purifies the whole earth. I'm looking for it right now, right? He's being honored. This great sacrifice with brothers had taken over the whole planet, and they did this powerful horse sacrifice. And what happened was because now Krishna is their cousin too, but let me go back. It was for told that Shishupala, he was born and his body was completely deformed. You know, it was like kind of like mangled, right? And his mother, Shishupala's mother, who was Lord Krishna's auntie, right? It was told to her that the man will come and hold your son, and when he holds your son, all of his decrepities and everything will clear up the moment he has him in his arm, right? Right. This is Shishupala. Okay, like this. On that throne is sitting Lord Krishna, right? Shishupala is the one with the red right there, right? So what's happening is, so this kid is his cousin. The mother knows that because all his deformities disappeared when he held them, that Krishna would be the one to kill his own cousin. And he and Shishupala's mother, because I'm getting to a point. Lord Krishna says, if your son insults, I will not kill him. All right? If your son insults me 100 times, I will not kill him. And so she was pleased with that, right? But Shishupala agreed that. And at this yagna ceremony, this horse sacrifice that benefits the whole world, they pick out of the king who's doing it or the emperor who's doing it, picks a person, exalt and to honor, and they become the most honored among all men. And they picked Lord Krishna, right? Shishupala was always jealous with Lord Krishna, but as it came to pass, he had already insulted him 100 times. So this was the 101st time that he insulted him. This is that way. Could y'all see it? So Shishupala, he got the red pants on, and his head has been separated from his body. Can you see it? Can you see it, Sister Yususet?
his head. This is his body.
His head is,
And that's his head
separated
right
from
here.
his body.
Wait,
Oh.
this is his head.
I can see it, yeah.
And this is his body. And this, hold on a second. This is Lord Krishna. That's Lord Krishna there being honored. Okay.
Okay.
And he killed him with a Sahasrara district. Lord Krishna is a round thing that's cuts off the head. Now,
1 second, guys. 1 second, just 1 second. 1 second.
what?
Somebody
trying to get in.
She gonna show us something?
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I saw somebody else up there. Anyway, okay, so check it out, y'all. We're talking about two guys. These guys already. I know two, or rather two deaths for both of them. And I know three. Could Satan be the other one? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking a question. Could Satan be?
Anything's possible, right?
You hear what I'm saying, Sister Yusa said? Who was
Wait,
asking that question? What I'm saying, we're looking at these. Do we ever meet Satan? Do we know him? Or we only know what we heard about him? What do we? You know how many people love this person? They're dedicating their life to him, but we see him as evil. And from a Bible, right? Oh, of course, the Bible is nothing but truth, right? Truth be told, we don't know nothing.
No.
We don't know who he is, you know, and
Right.
and bust. There's a scripture called the Yazidis. Did y'all know that the Quran and the Bible is based on that scripture? And guess what that scripture is? That scripture is about Malik Taus. Guess who Malik Taus is, y'all? Anybody want to take a guess?
Satan?
Satan.
Seriously?
Satan.
So the scripture and the Quran is based on, and all the Jewish scriptures is based on the Yazidis. And the Yazidis. How do I know this is the highest scriptures of the mix? This, oh my God. I don't want to tell too many secrets. Of the Bible, the Quran, and all of the Jewish scriptures. How is that? I got to tell you, it behooves us to read all the scriptures, but then we'll be able to put this thing together. And the only way out of this is to become godlike, to become within our power to do, because we got the God power to do it. We can't judge nobody. We can't judge the Draco. We can't judge Satan. We can't judge the Nagas. We can't judge the Ramas or many other serial killers any more than we could judge Arjuna, because he killed more than any of them. And he's heralded as a great being, attained ascension while killing people on the battlefield. And how many people on that battlefield was there? 1,660,125,000 people were murdered on that field of battle. And we don't call it murder, but they were killed on that field of battle, going to war with each other. Let me give y'all another thing about we could judge. There was 50 million World War II, right? We all know that. There was 80 million children infanticide committed in America alone. 50 million of them were committed by Black women. Are we to hate and judge Black women for killing their own babies? 50 million, y'all. We would do well to say to ourselves, only God is working there. Only God. And in our minds, we're saying, man, but maybe they didn't want to come to this wicked planet and live. Maybe it was their good fortune that they didn't get a chance to be born here. And their stories, and they were put down to earth. And their mother was a goddess. And their mother was Ganga, the river that flows through India. And they came to her and they said, goddess, we've been cursed to go to earth. Can we be your children? And when we become your children, can you throw us in the river and drown us as soon as we're born? All right. We see things from our own point of view, and the other point of view is far beyond our ability to comprehend. So let me tell you this story. She was the king. She was the wife of a king. The king was named, his name would come to me. But they had the 8th son. The 8th one is Prajapatis. He never criticized her. That was the deal. If you criticize me, I'm going to leave you. So as she killed their first child, now king loves the child, and they were all sons. He said nothing. Then the second one comes. He's so happy. She takes this son and she takes him to the river. She's not telling him why she's doing what she's doing. She's just doing it. The third will come, the fourth will come, the fifth, the sixth one will come. He's watching her kill all his children. This is a goddess, y'all. This is the goddess Ganja. Right? Yeah. And so what happens? She takes the 8th son and she's taking him to the river. She's like, no, I can't let you do this. I cannot let you do this. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? She says, you know, our time has come to an end. Now this dude is totally brokenhearted. He got goddesses of wife. She killed 7 of his kids. I mean, what do you want the man to do? And he just spoke up. It's like, what? I mean, what are you doing? Okay. She says, okay, I won't kill this one. But I got to leave you now. But I'll be back. Our relationship is over. But I'll be back. I'll come back in 16 years. Man, this king is so brokenhearted. First, you got a goddess that's pure. Everything else about is absolutely a fault in her. Even in a dream, she faults in her. But she killed all of his children. 16 years later, she comes back. She got this beautiful child who's 16 years old. The Mahabharata is about this kid. The Mahabharata is about him and his descendants. Right? So she brings that son back to his father. And she says, I've trained him, you know. The gods were his teachers. Brigu was his teacher in spirituality. Parasuram was his teacher in martial arts. And all of the great teachers of the universe was his teacher. He, in fact, is the greatest man on earth. He was glad to have his son back. He wished he could get his wife back. But who is to see these things? Who is to judge these things? How do we know that Satan is not one of this giant Vijaya and he's just waiting to be killed by God? How do we know? I don't know. I know that most of the scriptures that they got down here for us to study and read are lies, all lies. Right? How can we judge? In fact, even in the light of the Mahabharata, it wasn't 12 books like I got here. It was hundreds of books. Lord Andrew, don't need, and all of the gods took this powerful work that Vyas left, right? Vyas, Krishna Dvapayana Vyasa wrote all the cities that landed in India, right? There's only 12 left for human beings. And even with that, what in the Mahabharata never existed. But the Mahabharata was written about this one kid that could kill. Who are we to say? You see, we see human with human eyes, which are so limited. What are the other eyes? Well, how do we turn on our God eye? You know, the third eye that sees all. We can do this. This is our work. This is what we need to be focused on. And this is what we can do. Is Satan one of the, because I never read in any scripture where that other Jaya or Vijaya, where the other one was killed. Never read it. So we know one got 3 births, and that God killed. That was the last one was Shishupala. What about the other guy? Could that be Satan? They said that he was the right hand of God. I mean, could that be Satan? When you read, if you decide to read the Yazidis, which I encourage you all to read, because there's a high Masonic knowledge, okay? It's the highest, in fact. You're going to read that he helped out Jesus more than one time when Jesus was doing his 40 days in the mountains. More than once, he helped out Jesus. Let's bring it down to this level here. There's a guy named John Rodriguez. He wrote the book he was born in the Satanic family, and he became a Christian. His book is definitely worth reading, and you can see videos on him on YouTube. Okay.
Excuse me, Baba.
Yes, I know. We got 3 minutes.
Okay.
We got 3 minutes. I'm watching it. Thank you, Sister Lucretia. Right? He's born in the Satanic family, but he changes over. Right? Look at our limited view of life. We do things and are criticizing in others because we think somebody wrote it in some scripture. It's okay to do it. Eat these kind of animals. It's okay. But we're eating animals. We're nourishing ourselves off the carcasses of dead animals and seasoning them. I'm sorry, y'all. I mean, look at the perversion of our thinking. We need to drop it and think about God. If we turn all our thoughts back to God, okay, we'll be with God. For a while, I was doing the Guru Gita to defeat the satanic forces. And then the thought came to me, what are they doing to you? Why are you messing with these people? Who told you that you should be using something as powerful as Gita to bring them down? And I stopped doing it. Who gave me the authority to say that these people are evil and that I should take the Guru Gita to go after them? And for those who don't know, the Guru Gita is a chant that lasts about, please leave that there. It's a chant that lasts about 45, 50 minutes. It can accomplish anything. Anything. All right? This one is bad to be doing. And I realized that, and I stopped. Our work is to become God conscious. That's our work. That's what's vouchsafed to us. That's what we got the authority to do and what we should be doing. As far as everything else, learn what we don't know, we don't know. Like these 20-volume works here, Mahabharata, Ramayana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, man, the Garuda Puranas, some stuff in Egypt, which Budge and what's the other guy? Ghana. They were commissioned to give you lies about Egypt. They weren't commissioned to tell you the truth. They don't want Negroes being empowered, or white people, or nobody. They don't want you learning all that magic and that high-powered knowledge that the Egyptians had. They don't want that. So they commission people that they're heralded as these are the great historians of people, blah, blah, boom. Remember, I told you all more than once. Sister Lucretia. Baba Hannibal went to a lecture with Leakey. He asked Leakey the question, and Leakey he said a whole lot of stuff, but he didn't answer the question. Baba Hannibal went to Leakey and said, "You didn't answer my question, right?" He said, "Son, let me tell you, had I answered your question in form like the one we were just in, I would have lost all my funding." People are being controlled, and they tell lies willingly so they can keep doing what they're doing, hopefully, or hoping that they could do good in the future. We got actors doing it. We got politicians doing it. Hey, y'all. This is the world we're living in, and this is how it goes. Anyway, so anybody got any questions? We might be a couple of minutes late, Sister Lucretia. Anybody got any questions or comments? Brother Hank, you, anybody in the audience got any questions or comments?
Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, everyone.
Somebody could be in the
Somebody
chat.
Somebody could be in Zoom. Just a second.
Oh, admit one.
Is anybody in Zoom?
So no questions, no comments.
Nobody has their hand up.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So we'll finish this chapter next week then, or the week after that. And yeah. So let me say the invocation. This is how deep it is, y'all. Guru. It says, may we always be loving each other. May we always be friends. May we always that no enmity between us ever exists. This is a God man chanting to another God man. A chant that's saying to protect us from having enmity toward one another. You know, like Judas Christ. This is how deep this thing goes, right? And I'm gonna sing that chant for you right now as we close out. Being that no one has any comments or questions, it goes like this. Get my red book. My chant. I know about heart, but watch the thing. But it goes like this. His guru is named Nityananda, and we call him Bhagavan Nityananda or Lord Nityananda because he showed himself as God. He came like being, and it goes like this. I like holding in my hand, even though I know it because we would sing it every chant. This is Guru Gita. Nityanandaya Gurave Shisha Samsara Harine Bhaktakaye Dehaya Namaste Chittaratmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Shivananda Murtaye. Somebody mute their sound. Nish Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Bhavaktu Sahano Bunaktu Sahaviryam Kanava Vahe Tejasvina Vadi Tamastu Ma Vivisha Vahe Om Shanti 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 Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. So we'll see each other next Sunday. Maybe if the money comes in, Sister Yusa said, for the UCC class, you need to call me because we got something coming up that will be beneficial to all the people that's doing the UCC with me. You know, it's some high power coming up. The 17th, and you're definitely going to want to be in on this.
All right.
Right, gonna put money in our pockets.
Yeah. Okay. I got the UCC book too.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I want to say to everybody, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless your friends, your goals, and your dreams.
Ashe.
Ashe.
I accept that.